They thought they had ended you. Not just your plans, not just your dreams, but you. They didn't just want you to lose. They wanted you to disappear in silence, to become a warning. A story people whisper about and say, that's what happens when you try. But they made one mistake. They assumed pain would make you rush. They assumed humiliation would make you react. They assumed betrayal would turn you into fire that burns everything, including yourself. But you didn't rush revenge. You waited. And in that waiting, something dangerous was happening. You were becoming someone they could never recognize. Again, expectation versus reality. They expected chaos from you. They expected anger that spills everywhere. Words thrown like knives. Emotional explosions. Public reactions. Broken focus. Self-destruction disguised as revenge. They thought you would chase them. Beg for validation. Demand justice. Try to prove your worth in a world that had already decided to overlook you. But you didn't. You went quiet. And silence confused them more than rage ever could. Because while they were waiting for your downfall, you were studying it. Every betrayal became a lesson. Every insult became information. Every closed door became a map of who you could never trust again. They thought they broke you. But what they didn't understand is this. You don't break a person who learns from pain. You refine them. And while they were celebrating your silence as defeat, you were building something inside yourself they could never reach again. Transformation Phase 1. The fire they didn't see. There's something strange about being underestimated. At first, it hurts. You replay everything. Every word they said. Every moment they looked down on you. Every time they smiled while you were struggling. But then, something shifts. Pain stops being a wound. It becomes fuel. And slowly, without anyone noticing, you start changing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing closure. You stop begging for understanding from people who were never willing to understand you. You begin to build in silence, like a storm forming behind calm skies. There were nights you didn't sleep, not because of weakness, but because your mind was rewriting everything. You began to see clearly who was real, who was temporary, who only loved you when it was convenient. And most importantly, you saw yourself. Not the version they labeled, not the version they rejected, but the version buried under disappointment and doubt. And you started pulling them out. Piece by piece. Pain by pain. Truth by truth. It wasn't pretty. Growth never is. Some nights you felt like you were disappearing, but in reality, you were shedding. Like fire stripping wood down to its strongest core. And then it happened. You stopped needing their approval. You stopped replaying their betrayal like a song. You stopped bleeding for people who never noticed your wounds. And that's when your transformation began to show. Not to them. To yourself first. And that is the most dangerous kind of awakening. Because once you see your own power clearly, there is no going back. Conflict reaction. When they realized you didn't break at first, they laughed. Look at them. They've gone silent. They mistook your peace for surrender. They mistook your distance for weakness. They thought you were still in the same place they left you. But time has a way of exposing illusions. They started noticing something strange. You weren't reacting anymore. You weren't reachable in the same way. You weren't predictable. You weren't available for manipulation. And that's when confusion turned into discomfort. They tried to provoke you. Nothing. They tried to reach you through old patterns. Still nothing. They checked if you were struggling, but you weren't where they left you. You had moved, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And that's when fear crept in. Because people are comfortable with the version of you they can control, but they panic when you evolve beyond recognition. They started asking themselves questions they never expected. Why aren't they reacting? Why don't they care anymore? Why? Does it feel like we lost something we can't replace? And the answer was simple. You didn't just heal. You upgraded. And now, their version of you no longer exists. Transformation Phase 2, the rise they never calculated there, is a moment in every transformation where silence becomes power, where absence becomes presence, where not reacting becomes the loudest statement you can make. You entered that phase. You stopped explaining your worth. You stopped proving your value. You stopped fighting battles that only existed to drain you. Instead, you began building. Your focus sharpened. Your energy stabilized. Your presence changed even in rooms you hadn't spoken in. People started noticing before you even said a word. There is something unsettling about someone who is no longer emotionally available for destruction because they can't be controlled anymore. And you became exactly that. They used to know how to pull you into chaos. Now, they couldn't even locate your emotional center. You became like a locked room with no key. And while they were trying to understand you, you were becoming unstoppable. Not loud. Not aggressive. Not revenge driven. Just unbotthered. And that was your real revenge. Because nothing shakes those who expected you to fall more than seeing you stand. Without effort, you didn't rise to prove them wrong. You rose because you finally stopped needing them to be right. And that difference changed everything. Mini-climax. The storm within you. There is a kind of power that doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply exists. Like gravity, like time, like inevitability. That is what you became. People started noticing your absence more than your presence. Your silence became louder than their words. Your peace became uncomfortable for those who once fed on your confusion. And somewhere deep down, they understood it. They lost access to you. Not because you ran, but because you evolved beyond the version they could reach. And this realization unsettled them because they never prepared for your healing, only your breakdown. But you didn't stay broken. You studied your fracture lines. You turned them into maps. And now, you no longer walk the same path they designed for you. You walk your own. And every step forward echoes one truth. You didn't rush revenge. You became something revenge cannot touch. Empowerment climax. The unrecognizable version of you. Look at you now. Not the version they left behind. Not the version that begged for clarity or closure. But the version standing above the wreckage of everything they thought would destroy you. You don't chase anymore. You attract. Or you walk away. You don't argue anymore. You observe and decide. You don't fight for space. You own your presence. And the most powerful part? You are not even trying to prove it. The era is gone. You are no longer a reaction. You